Did you know that there are now over 25 sites across Iceland where you have to pay to enter? By the end of today's video, I'll tell you everything that you need to know about hidden travel expenses and more importantly, how you can lower or even avoid them completely. And in case you are wondering who the hell am I to give you advice, my name is Jan. I've been living in Iceland for past 9 years and every year I help hundreds of people plan their dream trip here in Iceland, and I hope that this video helps you too. Alright, let's start with the entrance fees, because that is a fairly new thing. In many popular attractions around the island, you now have to pay to enter. Well, technically it is more like a parking fee, because while the sites themselves are free to enter, if you hike there or bike there, you don't have to pay anything, but most of you will be driving. And there are cameras that scan your license plates, basically requiring you to pay either on site via the terminals that are there, or using the apps like Easy Park or Parka app. But if you don't pay, the charge will go basically directly to the rental company, which will charge you then on the end of your trip. But there will also be likely some extra charges, both from the rental company and also the parking lot provider. And so that's basically why it's always best to pay right away. The entrance or parking fees, whatever you want to call it, range from 600 to 1300 kronas. And that might not seem like much, but it adds up quickly, especially if you are planning to visit many places. And if you are thinking, what is the big deal? Why not just park a little further away and then hike the rest? Well, it is not always that simple. Most of the time, these sites are just a road in the middle of nowhere leading to a single location that ends at a paid parking lot. There is almost never a free option unless you want to hike a long way along the road, which in most cases just wastes your time. And you cannot really park just randomly somewhere next to the road on the grass, because that is considered off-road driving, and if you get caught you can be fined even thousands of dollars. But there is actually one way to cheat the system, which I personally actually use quite a lot, and that is to have a bike. I simply park further away and bike to the location, which usually takes no time compared to walking. And as of now, I believe there is only one car rental company in Iceland that offers bikes as an add-on, Camp Easy. And I actually have a little discount with them which you can use, and I'll leave it in the description of the video. But other than the tourist sites, there are also some paid parking zones in the city of Reykjavik and Akureyri, but that's about it. But now let's talk about hot springs, because I know that a lot of you visiting Iceland are really looking forward to that. And I mean, yeah, we have plenty of them, they are amazing, but not all of them are free. That said, the charge is usually small, typically 500 to 1000 kronas, which often just goes toward maintaining the site. Some of the more popular hot springs charge around 2000 kronas or more, but they also have nicer changing cabins, showers, and so the price is in the end quite reasonable. Where prices really jump though is at the geothermal lagoons, which have exploded in popularity. It really seems like there is a new one opening every year. And even though they are amazing, these are also much more expensive, with prices starting at around 7000 kronas per person, or even 13,000 or more at places like Blue Lagoon or Sky Lagoon. And that can be quite a steep price, especially if you are visiting, let's say, with the whole family. Luckily though, there is quite a good alternative, which actually not so many people talk about, and that is to visit public swimming pools. Almost every town has one, and like the lagoons, in the most cases, they are outdoor geothermal pools. Many also have hot tubs and cold plunges, and the price is usually just around 1500 kronas. And by the way, if you want to know exactly where to find all the lagoons and hot springs in Iceland, then I have marked every single one in my guide. And it is not just hot springs. I have included every place I have visited in Iceland over the past 9 years, along with the locations and activities on my personal must-visit list. Plus, its intuitive drag and drop interface makes it the easiest tool to build your own itinerary that you will find. Another thing that you should be probably ready for is the cost of the food, and I won't be spending too much time on this, but there is still a couple of things that you should know about. The most expensive option is of course dining out. Just to give you an idea, a 12-inch pizza is around 4000 krona. For a 3-course dinner at a restaurant, you can expect to pay around 10 to 13,000 kronas. And for something like Americano or Espresso, that's usually around 600 to 700 kronas. A more affordable option is to go into grocery stores and cooking your own meals. But here's something that many people don't realize. Grocery store prices can vary quite drastically. You will save a lot by shopping at bigger supermarkets like Bonus or Kronan, and avoiding places like Kramburin, which you will find in smaller towns. And the same thing goes for the overpriced gas stations, especially those near any popular tourist spots. Now what about accommodation? And to be honest, I don't really think that there are any hidden costs, at least not that I'm aware of. But still there is one trick that actually applies not just to Iceland. When you are browsing through booking sites like booking.com or Airbnb, simply check if the place has its own website. Because sometimes they offer discounts or promo codes for direct bookings through their website. It is usually something like 10%, but you never know, because like, to give you an example, recently a client of mine who was booking a premium accommodation here in Iceland, he actually discovered that when he was trying to book through their website, not through booking.com, there was a 50% discount, and so I think this is still something worth checking. And by the way, since we are on the topic of accommodation, from June to the end of September, I rent out my little cabin here in the mountains of Troll Peninsula. And so if you are looking for a unique place to stay in North Iceland that's totally off the beaten path, yet just a stone throw from beautiful hikes, hot springs, fjord towns and activities like whale watching, then I encourage you to check it out. Many of my guests have actually said that it was the best place they have stayed during their whole trip, and I would really love to show you why. So maybe see you here in the summer? Now let's talk about something that surprises many visitors, the cost of fuel. As of February 2025, you can expect to pay between 300 to 335 kronas per liter of diesel and 290 to 325 kronas per liter of gas. And so let's do some quick math. If you visit the Golden Circle and then drive the entire ring road with a few detours, that's roughly 1500 kilometers. And if your rental car consumes 9 liters per 100 kilometers, your total fuel cost would be around 42,000 kronas. And where many people make mistake is that they overspend by refueling at the most expensive gas stations. To save some money, prioritize self-service stations like Orkan or Atlan's Oria, and use the discount chips most rental companies provide. And if you want to learn how to save even up to 9% on the rental car, then you'll find that in the link below as well. One common mistake that I come across all the time is that I see people not really budgeting for any tours and activities, and then they just come to Iceland and they are shocked by the tour prices. And I mean, sure, you can visit Iceland and not book any of the tours. And personally, I completely understand, because I'm not even that big of a fan of any like organized tours and stuff. But there are still two tours that you should definitely consider. The first one is whale watching, costing around 14,000 per person. And trust me here when I say that this is always an amazing experience. And unless there is a major storm, it is a safe bet. And by the way, if you don't mind spending a little bit extra, I think around 24,000 kronas, then you should consider booking the express tour, which is the tour with the rip boat, and that will save you some time, plus you will have more intimate experience. The second activity that you should consider is any kind of glacier adventure, whether it's an ice cave tour, glacier hike, or a boat or kayak tour in a glacier lagoon. And these are great because they basically combine adventure, beautiful views, and also one of Iceland's most iconic features, glaciers. Now, if you need to pick up your rental car in Reykjavik, or you maybe just need to get from the Keflavik International Airport to Reykjavik city center, then you will want to hear this. You might be tempted to jump into a taxi in front of the airport, but Reykjavik is still about a 45-minute drive away, and the taxi will cost you at least around $150. The cheaper option is to take an airport shuttle bus, like Flybus or Airport Direct, which currently costs 4,000 kronas per person. A middle ground option is to simply rent a car at the Keflavik airport and then return it in Reykjavik. And that's something that will cost you around 15 to 16,000 kronas. Right now, Reykjavik Excursions actually offers this, with the fuel included in the price, so you can check that out. And the absolute cheapest way is to take the public transport bus, or as we call it in Iceland, Strætó. There is a bus stop just a few steps away from the arrivals hall, and the fare is around 2,500 kronas. But keep in mind, it is not a direct bus and you will have to transfer. And if you are like me and you absolutely hate public transport, then it might be worth considering the airport shuttle bus instead. And finally, let's talk about one more budget tip. If you want to buy alcohol or tobacco, you can only do so in the specialized stores here called Vinbudin. Just to give you an idea, a bottle of wine usually starts at 2,500 kronas, a half a liter of beer is around 450 kronas, and half a liter of Jack Daniels is 6,800 kronas. But here's a trick: if you buy all the alcohol in the duty-free store at the airport, then you can sometimes save even up to 50%. And similar hidden costs? Overpriced gift shops in downtown Reykjavik and near any tourist sites. Yeah, definitely avoid those because they charge ridiculous prices, basically for things that are either made in China or something that you can buy either in supermarket or in duty-free store for just a fraction of the price. And if you have any questions, just please leave me a comment below and I'll try my best to answer it or maybe even cover it in the future video. But for now you can watch this video up here, which will hopefully help you further with all the trip planning, and I hope to see you there.